We're learning more about how Florida insurance attorney Lindsay Halligan, now an interim U.S. attorney maybe, just barely managed to indict former FBI Director James Comey days before the statute of limitations were set to expire. Last week, Halligan, who had never prosecuted a single case in her entire career, whose only appearances in federal court were as one of Donald Trump's personal lawyers, was abruptly installed to lead one of the country's most important prosecutors' offices. And she got right to work on her first ever grand jury presentation, obviously ordered by the president, right? By all accounts, it was not an easy task, nor did it go smoothly. She not only took the unusual step of signing the two-page long double-spaced indictment herself, something a junior career prosecutor typically handles, although possible no one was willing to do it. But people familiar with the matter tell CNN that DOJ headquarters declined to provide lawyers to assist her, and FBI agents and lawyers working to prepare her were denied their request for a paralegal professional to assist in the presentation. In the end, only 14 of the 23 grand juries voted to indict Comey on only 2 of the 3 counts, narrowly clearing the 12-vote threshold. So, Halligan's first time in the court as a prosecutor did not go smoothly either. As the New York Times reports, at one point, she entered the wrong courtroom. Mistakes can happen. When she found the right one, she stood on the wrong side of the judge and then appeared confused about the paperwork she had just signed. A court transcript obtained by CBS News gives details to that interaction. So this has never happened before. I've been handed the 2 documents that are in the Mr. Comey case that are inconsistent with one another, Judge Lindsay Valla said to Halligan. After a back and forth about the documents, Halligan said, I only signed the 1 2-count indictment. I don't know which one with 3 counts you have in your hand. Okay, it has your signature on it, Judge told Halligan, who responded, okay, well. Even after all of that, it also seems completely possible the entire thing could just get thrown out as an invalid case because, as a conservative lawyer argued in the National Review, it seems highly doubtful that Lindsay Halligan has been validly appointed as the United States attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia. George Conway is a conservative attorney and president of the Society for the Rule of Law, and he joins me now. George, there's a bunch of sort of weedsy details about how you can be a U.S. attorney or not. Now, the sort of general principle people know is that this is a Senate-confirmed position, importantly so. You get appointed by the president, you get confirmed by the Senate. In some emergency situations or interim situations, people can get named as actings. But there's like real pretty settled like law tradition about who gets to do that. And it's really not clear that Halligan even can fill the role that she currently is in now.
Yeah, she has no more authority than you or I or my 2 corgis to present an indictment to a grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia. And the reason is quite simple. There's this federal statute, 28 U.S.C. 546, that basically says, it expresses one of the ways in which a U.S. attorney, a temporary U.S. attorney, can be put in. And this is the installation of what's called an interim U.S. attorney. And the way it happens is if there's a vacancy in the office, a Senate-confirmed person leaves the job, then the Attorney General can appoint somebody, but only for 120 days. After that 120 days expires, then the judges of the district court in the district where the U.S. Attorney's office is can then appoint somebody to succeed that interim U.S. attorney as another interim U.S. attorney. And what happened here was there was a fellow named Siebert who had that 120-day appointment from the Attorney General and then was reappointed by the district judge. But the president didn't like him because he didn't want to file this stupid and meritless indictment against Comey. And so he resigned. And so bingo, here we have Lindsay Halligan, never appeared in a federal criminal case before, barely knows where to find her way in the courtroom. But I have to give her credit. I mean, if what had happened to her that day had happened to me, I'd want to crawl under a rock and never be heard from again. But good for her.
Well, and to the point where finally, like, there was a Senate confirmed position, there was then this vacancy, then the judges of the district put in Siebert. He's gone now. Like, there's no established authority that you could then just throw another person in there. And to be clear, this is something they've run up against in a few places. Alina Habba in New Jersey has been dinged by the local judges there. Like, they seem to think they can run roughshod over this law and put in whoever they want.
Yeah, I mean, there's another method by which they could put in an acting U.S. Acting U.S. attorney, excuse me, but that person has to be already Senate confirmed and already in the Justice Department. And Lindsay Halligan was neither. She was working as a hack in the White House. So she has basically no authority. She's not the U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia, and no one else. We saw her signature on that indictment. No one else signed that indictment, which means that it is invalid. And because no other valid attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia's U.S. Attorney's Office signed the indictment, and because the statute of limitations has run, this case is over.
That's such a good point, right? It's not, I mean, right, so the case here is, I mean, before we even get to the merits of this case, which I think are pretty rough for the state, for the government, before you even get to that, before you even get to the filing a malicious prosecution order to get it thrown out, which it looks like they've got a decent shot at, the argument here is like, that indictment was signed by a person who didn't have the authority. It's like George Conway or Chris Hayes signed it. It doesn't count, and the statute of limitations are up, so,
Yeah, the statute of limitations expired at midnight last night, so Comey's home free. This case should be done. Sorry.
I'm curious to see. I mean, one of the things that will be interesting here is Comey seems to welcome a trial, and so it's possible they don't. You know, that Pat Fitzgerald, who's his attorney, doesn't file, but we will stay on top of that.